Welcome to the Monday, January 26th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting. I would like to start by recognizing that we are gathering and governing on the unceded traditional territory of what is now known as the Comox Nation, and we are always grateful for their grace and support as we do this good work on their land. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Everyone's in favor of that agenda? Yes, we are. Thank you. And our first delegation is Inspector Scott Mercer, RCMP. Come tell us about the detachment.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Tell us about the detachment, where to start. Well, thank you for having me here. I do have a number of items that I plan to discuss with council here today. Did you want me to just speak solely as far as the correspondence that I sent to council regarding?
Yeah, that would be great. Let's start there.
So it's been no secret since I arrived here back in July of 2024, carrying on the good work of previous commanders before as far as raising the awareness on the need for a new detachment for the Comox Valley. I've had a number of operational issues that I've tried to get underfoot first before I've been able to really dive into what would be a long-term project to try and establish both need for this area and as well as motivate the municipal support and the funding for it. I feel like I'm at a position at the beginning of 2026 where I can maybe start to actually put wheels into motion on this. This requires face-to-face conversations with all of our municipal partners, knowing full well that the Village of Cumberland plays a bit of a lesser role currently right now. But will be changing in the near future, in which you will be a contributing municipal partner to policing within the Comox Valley. So while the intention to build letters will come from those that are contributing right now, such as the town of Comox and the city of Courtenay, I'm looking for other letters to indicate to the provincial government, the federal government, as well as our own commanding officer, the need, or at least the support of my need for a new detachment, which I feel we're at a critical point right now. Just to give a bit of a more realistic or an illustrative example to it, I haven't had a functioning personal office since October. I have a hole in my roof, and which I now can't occupy it, and it's just illustrative of the sense that we're running out of usable workspace within this place. There are a whole host of issues that need to be dealt with, and I don't think Band-Aid solutions are going to help. I mean, they may help in the short term, but the long term, we need to actually have a plan for this. So this is the start of that plan, which is for me to come, hopefully not hat in hand, but just in a sense of just explaining why this is so important, why it's important for this community, and why I feel that lending a voice right now will at least start to maybe move some of the logjam that's behind it, because right now we don't have a huge priority placed behind this detachment. Respectively, with all the other detachments in BC, we rate fairly low, which is surprising considering of all the infrastructure issues that we have with this place and the lack of workspace. I believe we're in tier 2 out of I don't know how many categories, but we're not in tier 1, and tier 1 is the category that we want to be in. Tier 2 and number 5 on that list. So my hope is to raise some urgency to this, to those that have the ability to move us further up the list, and then start generating a plan with the city of Courtenay and the town of Comox on how we can fund this detachment build, because this isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take years and years for it, but we need to start moving ahead with it now.
Thank you. And for clarity for us, I know we're not over 5,000 yet, but as you say, we will be shortly, and obviously happy to support we're well versed in old buildings and leaky roofs. I also don't have an office. Some of our staff don't have offices, so so happy to help in that way. And any sort of advocacy we can do would be directed federally or through the province, or
What I can do is I can give the specific details to Michelle and Rachel
Okay.
as far as who to address the letter of support. I can maybe even give a suggested template as far as maybe how it's completely up to you. I don't want to tell you how to write it, but
Yeah.
if you need some example of maybe what it could look like, I can also provide that as well. So we're not
Yeah,
writing
that's always
Shakespeare here.
helpful. Yeah.
And then I will I'll give it up to your CAO to bring back to council here.
Awesome, thank you. Questions, council?
Hi. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I'm in support of you guys getting a new building. Like Mayor Brown said, we understand leaky buildings here in Cumberland. Are you looking to rebuild in the current location? Or is that all up in the air still at this point?
Up in the air is probably a good expression for it. Once we start getting serious about the idea of a build, I pretty much will hand it off to our operational strategic branch, who then takes it up to project management, and they do a lot of the planning and the looking and the site recommendations. The thing that we need to understand about the current detachment is it's integrated, so it hosts both municipal and provincial contracts. It also hosts our OCC, which is provincially funded. So those positions in of itself, there has to be an understanding, and this is why we have so many hands that have to get involved on this, is what is it that we want, and it comes down also to the municipalities that are contributing. What are they willing to pay for it, and what size of building they want? I feel that, and not that I'm trying to make a case for it now, that our detachment functions better when all of our resources are underneath one roof. When we start splitting them up, it makes it harder. Management gets split up, decisions get fractured. We find that we're responsible for different offices, which means there's different human resource issues in each one, where it's easier to have it underneath one roof. But it would also come down to the feasibility of that building, as far as if the municipal resources left, those provincial resources, if they remained, if that was the choice of division, how long could they stay in there? I believe that the building of it itself is probably not as suitable for them as it would be for us, that even though we would maybe create additional workspace, it doesn't necessarily make it a great workspace for them to work into. So I don't want to, predict what that will be. My fight will always be that type of having those amount of resources. I don't foresee it being on that same location. There's also other issues that we also have to take into account, is that there's historic and archaeological remains that belong to the KFN on that land too. So the reclamation of that land and building a larger building on top of it, I don't know if they would be in favor of that. And that's something that we would have to partner with them. There's so many questions, Councillor, to this, that even just to start going down that road, it really starts getting people together to answer those questions, is how serious are we today about this building? Because I think that over the past 40 years, we've had some serious discussions, and some significant efforts were made to build a new detachment down where the CVRD currently is at. But it fell apart, and I don't know the history as to why it fell apart, but this isn't new to Division. They're certainly aware of it. I think that they understand our needs. It's just how much local need is there for this, right? Because, I mean, we can overlook the problem as long as no one's making a stink about it, and I think I got to make a bigger deal of making a stink about it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Inspector. Having worked in that building frequently, I can attest to the difficulties that you're facing there. I just had a couple questions. Who currently owns it? Is it the City of Courtenay? Is it federally owned?
It's federally owned.
It's federally owned.
It's
okay.
federally owned. So and those are challenges that we have. I worked in previous detachments where if they're federally owned, there may not be a municipal push for people to get motivated to build a new building, because buildings are costly, right? So the first look is always going to be, what can we do to maybe renovate the existing building and to create additional workspace? I think this particular building raises challenges because seismically, I don't think it's sound. I think that there's a lot of harmful materials within that building as well that make it prevent us from restructuring. And you can only do so much with the building. Like, this thing has been renovated. Like, we're refurbishing closets
Yeah.
for people to work out of right now, and we need more staff, and we just don't have the place to put them, right? So we got to start planning for the future on this.
And so the first responder upstairs there, the call center, it's going to be included in your future vision as well?
I personally would like that.
Yeah.
Now, again, that's something that persons that are of higher rank than myself from division that have more of a say on that, I certainly have made the case for it. We've had early conversations with division about meeting OCC's needs, because they have as much, if not more, people working for them than they do us in a smaller workspace upstairs.
Oh.
So keeping them in a building that I think personally, again, I have the opinion that it's not safe, doesn't suit their needs, because if they go down, that's a whole telecommunication service for all of North Island that isn't provided because they're in a building that I don't feel is great. But I also don't have the reports right now to back that claim up. So that is my opinion. That's not something that that is out there for public consumption. I just think that we need to look at all avenues of this building as far as what is the likelihood of this thing still being usable for any safe workspace for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. So.
Okay. Thank you. There was just one other question. It said you'd sent letters of support or you're looking for letters of support from City of Courtenay, Town of Comox, and the Village, but you'd also CC'd both KFN and the Regional District. Will you also be approaching them for support
The
on this as well?
KFN, they're ahead of the curve. Before Chief Price left office, he made it a council resolution they were the first ones to step forward on a letter of support that was directed to the Public Safety Minister as well as the commanding officer of the division. So I will probably bring it up again to Chief Rempel as far as the need for this, and I think she understands why we would need something like this. So I will have some FaceTime with them, certainly with the CVRD as well, being a provincial partner. I would like to have their support too.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Question?
Yeah, thank you very much. I completely understand. I'm intrigued by. I'm not going to say how much is it because it's way too early to ask for a dollar number. But what is the usual funding mechanism if municipalities join to create a building like that? How is it funded and repaid? Who holds the debt? Where does it go?
Great question, and that's where the people from property management and OSB come into play. They will the basic questions they'll be asked is, what is it that we'd like, and they'll give you different options, and they'll give you the costing formulas for that as far as how that could be brought back to raise through prospective tax funds. The town of Comox, which I've engaged with CAO Wall on, is of the opinion that things are only going to keep getting more expensive. So when that day comes with OSB and property manager, I think putting money aside now towards whatever this building is going to be, I think prospectively we can use previous examples. Duncan North Cowichan, which is probably one of the more recent builds that I would love to have a tour with members of this council as well as the other councils to go down and see an idea of what you could be getting, because I think it really is a flagship and it's representative as far as what we could see for this area, both in population size, amount of members as such. That was about $53 million, and that was also, I believe, 3 to 4 years ago on it. The city of Kamloops, I think, was about $123 million for theirs, but obviously a larger urban center, a larger police force and complement. So I don't want to hazard a guess, but we're looking up in that range. That for a integrated service, that would probably be something of that dollar amount, is that 50 plus there. But again, if we do a reduced footprint where it's solely municipal, police officers that are involved in there, that would probably reduce the size of it. But it might not necessarily plan for the future of it either, because, well, we've seen buildings that are suited to needs now. By the time that they get erected, that they're underspaced, right, for these things, and that's often a case for these. Yeah.
I think what I was also trying to get at was, because I'm not surprised to hear 50 to 100. That was what I would think. Is that build cost paid for by the RCMP and then build back? Is it paid for by the municipalities and the
It'll be
building is rented out?
It will be municipality funds that are funding this.
So we need to identify the funding mechanisms and the debt load and all of the associated pieces that go with that, and then lease the building
Right.
to you. All right.
Just a question on that. Want a clarification on that. So if the municipalities kick in the money, then it's still federally owned?
No.
It's not.
It's yours at
Municipal.
that point, and that's the huge difference is right now, and there is an advantage to some communities for a federally owned building, because then they don't have the costs and headaches that often come with being a property owner, right? To be a renter is sometimes great in certain situations, but in this will be fully owned by the contributing municipalities. You will run it, and I believe at that point, I think, and I may be wrong on this, I think we rent from you at that particular point.
Are there different funding models across the country, or is this primarily what's
Again, I
going?
unfortunately not my specialty, but it's something that I can probably get back for council on early communication for you guys on what this potentially looks like. The manual on this is thick. It's there's a number of steps, and I'm just on step 1 to 5 right now. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just one more follow-up on that. If it is housing 911 staff, which is a BC government, are they contributing then for their share of the building?
See, and again, there comes the dynamics of it. From my understanding, is that there are lease agreements. So you build the space, then you lease it back. The province doesn't want to engage in any ownership of buildings or anything like that. So they would rather be a rentor than the actual property rep.
Of course they would.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, but at least that's an income stream to offset
For sure.
part of the loan or the cost
Yeah.
of the building, for sure.
Yeah, and that goes with our provincial resources too, right? So if they're underneath there, so police officers that are under a provincial contract, the province is in a position to go into a lease with you. So obviously it's advantageous right now for that not to be the case, because it's reduced amounts that they would have to pay in the current building for them to be in there. But again, you're only delaying the inevitable, in my opinion.
And then just one last question. If you're not going to be in the same location, are you looking for a downtown location in Courtenay again, or would something closer to the highway be better, or?
I think, again, those are conversations with property management and OSB as far as what options are there available. They'll always look at in terms of response rates, strategic locations as such. But I also feel that probably they'll be realistic that beggars can't be choosers either, right? So space being in an environment like this, that can be fairly limited and fairly pricey. They'll see what is potential there and try and make it work. I mean, we then have to deal with the consequences afterwards as far as putting it in a certain location if we find that there's only, there's limited access into these roadways or into these facilities. So that will certainly lead the conversations. We want this to be something that's flexible, that we're able to respond in all directions, and not anyone is left behind in terms of, like, it's favorable to Cumberland to be closer to Cumberland, but then there's also the potential for Courtenay and
long drive to
long-
Comox.
That's right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
However, if Cumberland does have space, please let me know, and I will carry that message forward.
We'll definitely keep that in mind, yes.
Yeah.
It might be easier than finding that kind of money for us.
Right.
Did you have something else?
Yeah, if I can still just try and understand this financing and renting and in question. So the municipalities build a building, they rent it to the RCMP. That rent is paid for by the money we pay for policing, as well as
Yeah.
anything else. So effectively, we'd build a building, charge the rent, and then we'd also pay the rent. Right? Okay.
And
In some ways.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But
Some
there'd be
ways.
other renters.
I know, not entirely necessarily, but generally. So, and I'm looking at, our share of a building could be 5 to 10 million for Cumberland, right? So looking at that. So that piece. What happens right now? Does the policing contributions that communities are paying, is the federal government charging you a rent for that building that is then going on, or is it deemed to be a paid for asset and it's just maintenance costs?
I do believe that certain workspace is included in with the costs of the members that you're paying for. Let me get that answer back to you, because again, it's all the things of, it's not the what do we want, but then how do we pay for it argument, and how does that work? And I think that's a very important question, Councillor, for me to field out. And once we get closer to that prospect, there will definitely be information sessions on this. This won't be just a quick hit, give me your money and let's be done with it. There'll definitely be some input as far as what this means to you as the respective contributing partner, as well as potentially if you're not a contributing partner for the building, but even just a rentor, what that means to you as well. Like there's a lot of people that would want to have a say as far as how this is charged out, and the units that I referred to when it comes to OSB and property management. This is their wheelhouse. This is the stuff that they deal with. So I would be fooling myself if I could explain it to you, because I don't, even at my commander level, understand fully what it is, and it's still a bit of a an education session for me that I have to go back to them and say, like, okay, how do I explain this to my municipal leaders, because I don't even get it myself. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'd expect, and I just, the sort of support I'd be looking to give is a support for exploring all of this, because until we understand the implications for the next 20 to 30 years of our taxpayers,
for sure,
it's,
and that's a fair
definitely-
comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my understanding, given the many, many conversations we've had around policing with the province, that municipalities under 5,000, so the areas, the CVRD areas, and Cumberland right now, the province pays that admin and rent fee, whatever that looks
Yes.
like. But when we transition, that becomes our
So
responsibility.
we need it built before the next census.
That's right. So we'll get you a building by 2027.
It's probably in line of where we're at right now. So
It's just across the street. We're
yes,
going to rebuild it.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, no. Okay, so thank you for that. Any other questions on the detachment? Then our next item is strategic priorities. So we can do your piece of that first too, if you
Sure.
like.
On the quarterly report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
I-
starting on page 49, Council.
For sure.
I think.
Yeah, 55 of 80.
Oh, thank you.
So I did provide a head, and I could go through word for word on it, or I could just summarize. I think this quarter we saw a slight increase. We did see a slight increase compared to the third quarter of last year, and while it seemed a 7% increase in files, so a 55 file difference from 2024, and these increases weren't in the violent crime categories, they were in the property crime categories, which we anticipated, given that we have seen a increase in mischief as well as property crime to include break and enter and theft. So that doesn't shock me, and the amount of reported beanies that we've been having over the past several months certainly has created that impact. And it's not lost on this detachment or my staff, so I envision we'll probably answer some questions towards that as I go through. So the most common locations that we saw these increases was in the gas and go. They certainly were targeted quite a bit this past quarter. We also saw a huge increase or an uptick in a private residence. Now I won't reveal the private residence, but this is, while it is an astounding number, it says a 425% increase. It's a 17 file difference, but comparatively. So
Right.
Stats in of themselves can represent different areas at different times. We saw a slight decrease in violent crime. in which it was a 6-file difference compared to the previous year, and no significant or any changes in sex offenses, harassment, or more serious crimes such as robbery. But we did see an uptick in assaults, in which we saw a 24% increase, so basically a 6-file difference than the previous year. Those weren't stranger assaults; those were usually offenders that were known to the persons that were involved. So that always seems to be a common question with some municipalities. They want to know, and especially when there are commentary regarding transient populations, are they a threat and stuff, that this wasn't something that was tied to that. And most of these violent crimes were in the more populated or dense areas that I've said before, so down Dunsmuir and the downtown core area. Not to say that specific businesses are responsible for any of these, but I mean, when we start incorporating alcohol or activities and such, and more people in those areas at those given times, we often see an uptick in sort of discord or disturbances. Property crime, so I spoke to that. So mischief was a 139% increase, so a 61 file difference, which was a considerable amount. B&E, so break and enter, a 40% increase, which was a 4-file difference. Transversely, though, we did see a decrease in 63% in break and enters. While break and enters other and break and enter to residences. So these were largely businesses that were targeted during this year. So it's not private residences or other properties. We did also see a significant shift down in theft from motor vehicles. So typically when people and most theft from motor vehicles are crimes of opportunity in which they're unlocks. They're not like broken windows or anything like that. So we did see a shift in that as well. Open areas and parks and campgrounds, we saw a 10-file difference from the previous year. So it was an astounding number. It said 200% increase, but again, it's a 10-file difference. And I know that I've been as things have happened with the Cumberland or the CVRD area in these particular recreation areas, I've tried to communicate with municipal leaders as soon as possible so that they're aware of it. We had some tragic incidences that happened this past year, that especially at the campground area. I did appeal to the CVRD as well to seek provincial funding to increase more enhanced patrols in these areas during the summer months. The provincial response was not favorable to us, to say the least. They felt that there was a sufficient amount of resources that they've given towards it, understanding that they're going through austerity measures themselves and trying to determine where they're going to put priority funding behind. There's other avenues that they recommended that we engaged to engage on. So I'm always asking for additional resources, and if that's a response to the provincial government in terms of a short-term funding model that they want us to seek support for additional full-time people, then I guess that's a response I'll take back up to the province to say it was your own words that we need more bodies, right? That being said, I did encourage our bike unit and our street crime unit to engage in other funding revenue streams. So C-STEP was one of them through the province that they put money aside for project funding or areas of that are affected by economic to preserve economic integrity. So C-STEP, we did get funding for that. We were successful in our application, and Corporal Dan Stone has utilized that to increase enhanced patrols, which I've directed to him to target the village of Cumberland as well as the town of Comox for these enhanced patrols. That's been going on since December, and the funding gets stops in February. So I think we have about 20 additional enhanced overtime shifts that have been designated that we're spreading across to the village of Cumberland as well as to the city of Courtenay and the town of Comox. That doesn't cost you guys anything, that we were able to utilize because members do like having extra funds, and sometimes that's a motivating factor for them to do
sure,
stuff
yeah.
that adds to our complement as well. So I can speak to questions on the property crime aspect of it, because again, anticipating that there would be something that I would have to account for here today.
Go ahead. No? Okay. So I'm just curious about the campground because I know that the campground operator has added their own security. So is that increase related to the two incidents that we had this year, or was it because of that, or in front of that, or behind that, or any
That's a
connection?
really it's a question that I never really thought of. As far as, is this a case of just more awareness of activities that are happening that are being called in? That's something I can maybe look back to see who's the source of the of the complaints. Maybe there is a correlation between the two. I just noticed from my own personal observations when I would just go with my family up on the weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
There seemed to be a increase of activity that started earlier at the campground at the start of spring last year that kind of never really slowed down, right? So bringing that awareness over to the operations side of it, we tried to plan for more patrols of the campground area to be more aware of it. But a lot of these complaints, I think they weren't so much proactive, they were response. So let me bring that back to my analyst and see if I can maybe see if there is a bit of a tie to that. I did note that there was just increased overall activity, which again, my
Yeah.
policing experience is that when you get more people in a certain area, more things are probably likely going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the activity out there continues to grow every year. So, and the longer and hotter the summers, the more people you get out there. And I do notice that you also did some boat checks out there,
Which I think is important
appreciated.
because we do have the ability to do that. We do have the training. We have a lot of staff that are experienced in watercraft, so we can utilize that as an opportunity. It's just being able to plan for it has been a challenge in the past. The summertime is what it is. It's always hard to when it comes to human resources, you like to think that you're going to have a full complement of staff, but that never is the case. It is a priority. It's something I put into our annual policing plan this year, and I plan to roll it over to next year as well, as get us more on the recreational vehicles such as the ATVs, snowmobiles, as well as the watercraft as well. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead.
I think, can we expect with the number of calls you got to these two private residents? I mean, they make up 5% of the total calls you answered here in Cumberland this year in just those two residents. Can we expect that number to go down because of enforcement activities that have occurred over this time period?
Well, I think we have to, under that questioning, we would have to assume that the reasons why we're going to these residences are criminal in nature. They may not be. They may be health related or social. There might be a social issue that's related to. When I see an increase in a certain category, especially at a particular residence, I then go back to my operations officer and say, what are we doing and what can we do better? Because this isn't a great way to, as you said, to utilize policing resources if we're continually going to a problematic residence.
Yeah.
And if there's not an identifiable police problem to it, then it's our responsibility to collaborate with other agencies to see if we can get the appropriate supports for them to reduce the impact that this is creating. Because I'm sure that they don't want to see a police cruiser rolling up to their house, neither do the neighbors. Yeah. I'm sure there's a bit of social embarrassment for them on that aspect too. So we're willing to try and find any solution to try and reduce the need for us to go out there, because I find that we're always the first ones to get called out to it, but sometimes we're the last persons that are actually needed for those incidences. Yeah. I will push at one particular point, and this isn't specific to this residence or anything like that, but since the end of September, we've been successful in terms of rolling out our mental health car, our mobile integrated crisis response unit there's always like a lengthy.
Isn't it supposed to have a number?
It is. We call it Car 64, but this is a partnership with Island Health, and this is the agreed term that we're going with. It just takes a little bit for me. We call it MICR as short, and there will be some information being released publicly about it in the next coming days, as far as a media release on it, as far as the successes that we're seeing and the projected future that we have. So I mean, there have been times that Micro has been in Cumberland, as well as Courtenay and Comox, and the feedback that we're getting from a lot of our community partners, as well as the people that are involved with these vehicles, has been really positive on it. So different conversation for a different day for you guys, but that's another added resource that we're trying to throw as a non-traditional police response to some of these calls that we get, because again, a uniform and boots is great for certain types of calls, but not all of them.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just to clarify, that's a pilot, so it's only
It is.
funded for the year, and that would be Island Health funding. So again, another opportunity for us to talk
They're
to.
both in-house resources currently that are being utilized for this. So we're
Okay.
utilizing a body within our detachment, as well as Island Health is using someone from their mental health support unit within the hospital, their crisis team. So yeah, we can only do this in a short term because long-term sustainability isn't going to be there unless we have the additional funding. And that goes for Island Health, for them to be able to get the provincial support to pay for an extra position, as well as us. And I think that, you know, what we're starting to see out of it is that we're starting to provide a service that is outside the traditional ways of like at the hospital level. This is something that people would have to come to them, or we'd have to bring to them. They're now finding a whole new stream of clientele that wasn't identified before, right? So I mean, this is, I think something that maybe we didn't project or estimate, but that's why it's adding to the success of this program, is we're providing a service that wasn't there before. The stigma around mental health being what it is, and often it's always when a person is in crisis, they go to the hospital, whereas this is proactively ahead of time when we feel that they're off baseline or they're not in contact with their support team. This is also identifying a whole pocket of individuals out there that are in need that we didn't anticipate.
Yeah,
So.
awesome, thank you.
With respect to those two businesses as such, so when we talk about Slag Lumber and the Gas and Go on there, they have been the subject of a series of break-ins and thefts, and I don't want to minimize these complaints. These as soon as these were starting to happen and the frequency of it, I took it personally to bring it to the attention of our staff and to come up with planning on how we can try and find the persons responsible and minimize the victimization for these businesses, and especially from November to December on, they've been targeted quite a bit. So we have been successful in terms of, at the very least, making contact with the property reps and to try and have constructive conversations with them on how we can reduce the victimization, on crime prevention methods as well. I have increased our patrol patterns up to the Village of Cumberland. Since I initiated the proactive patrol log, there have been 74 proactive patrols that have been done in Cumberland from October till now. So those are outside of police responses. Those are people coming up through the community and at various hours of the day, during the daytime and at nighttime, to try and catch persons that are responsible, or at least tamp down the crime of opportunity for some. I thought I'd bring that to council's attention to show that we are aware of it. We're doing what we can. Late October, you saw, I think there was some aerial assistance that we had on some of the ATV use that was happening up here. We're considering all different kinds of techniques to try and ensure that these type of problems don't escalate to the point where they're unmanageable. It also takes a break in the case. We do have some strong investigative leads at this particular point, so while it's easy for me to sit here and tell the people that are affected by this to please be patient with us, I'm going to say it again, please be patient with us. We understand. We want to get these people. We don't want this to be a recurring problem, and we're doing everything in our power to try and have a successful outcome.
Thank you. Councillor Ward, did you have another question?
Well, just a question, so observation that a lot of these numbers are really dominated, as you alluded to, by mischief to property. And if we were to take that increase away, this would actually numerically be a really positive story of an improvement from improvement from last year at least. So I'm just sort of partly curious: is this our vandalism and property damage that has been related to an identifiable sort of small group of repeat behavior?
I'm not going to go out and start saying that far, but I mean, I think the persons that are it could be one of two things. It could be a group of individuals that are largely responsible for stuff like this. It also could be the word getting around as far as the ease in which they can get away with it, right? We know that the response rate from Courtenay to Cumberland is what it is, and unless we're in the area at a certain period of time, sometimes it's a gamble for people. I don't want to hedge that guess until I have some sort of outcome on these files to bring back to council. It could be a number of things. I don't want to unnecessarily say one thing and then it prove to be something completely different the next time I sit in front of you.
Yeah, it's definitely a highly visible activity for the community, and it's oft noted that response time. If only the detachment were nearer, eh? Anyway.
If only. Yeah.
Okay, on that note, any other questions for Inspector Mercer? Okay.
There was one that was sorry, and I don't mean to cut you off,
Yeah.
Your Worship, regarding the media exclusion zone. I think that
Oh, yes.
that was an item that was brought up. I'm not in a position to provide any commentary on it or any opinion on it when it comes to that. So it is being addressed at a higher level. We should and sometimes see a response from our division command on it, and then maybe we can have a more engaging conversation as far as what that means to you as well as to us for frontline operations.
Okay, great. I think that we're having that discussion ourselves during our closed meeting later, so that's great input. Thank you. We'll reach out if we have more questions around that. Okay, thank you so much. Now let's go back to the beginning of that report, maybe the strategic update, so that we're in some kind of order. You're welcome to stay or you're welcome to carry on with your day. Inspector, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I might take the opportunity to see.
Yes. I know it's riveting, this stuff, but
No. You know where I am, right? So
yes.
If you need anything from me.
Thank you. So I don't know, Michelle, if you want to just do a bit of an overview of the quarterly summary, or if we just want to dive into questions.
Can do an overview for sure. So you have two strategic priority and emerging items updates. One are all the completed items, and one's the items that are in progress. There's financial services report for the final quarter, and of course that does not include all of your audited
Right.
entries and everything. So take that as you will. It's an internal document. That audit will come to you in April, probably, or sometime. You have your protective services, the fire department. You've listened to your RCMP update, and you have development services stats as well, and bylaw stats, and then all your council resolution lists. Just something to highlight for the fourth quarter is the significant amount of work that staff did on the OCP and zoning bylaws.
Yeah.
And then also as has been happening all year, but the extra significant work being done on the wastewater. So all those three initiatives are pretty well coming to an end, which is really exciting for this year. And then we'll dive right into number 2 dam and everything else. But yeah, so it's really nice.
After we celebrate the success of
Yes,
the
that's
other-
right.
Yes.
We'll take a minute. Yeah, and a couple other things, but staff's also here to answer any of your specific questions.
Awesome. I just wanted to add to that first page in your summary, because I know I have this information, but I want council to have it also. When I met with MP Gord Johns, he suggested that we reach out to build, or that Macola reach out to Build Canada Homes, or Canada Builds Homes, or whatever the new funding is, and that Macola has done that. So we have 2 or more asks going out for that Guaxidas project.
Yes, I believe they're in the process of looking
doing
at
it.
doing that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Council, questions on, can we go section by section? Diverse and healthy community is first.
Are we going through the completed ones at this point? or-
Yes.
Which is
Probably not a
fantastic
lot
to
of
see all
questions
this
in there.
stuff done.
Yeah, it's so nice. I appreciate this new layout.
I wanted to comment that I'm pleased to see the interactive development portal live. Went and actually spent a little time on that.
Too.
It does allow us to visually see on the map, and just really to make sure the public's aware is part of the reason I'm raising it here. But I just wanted to say I like the access, the mechanism, or the fact we can access it, and I'm looking forward to that as the data starts to sort of fill in and populate. I know it's mostly there, but we can keep on improving that. So thank you to you and staff for all their work.
That's great. I liked it too.
I have one question around the, because I don't remember mostly, budgeting. Under sustainable service delivery and asset management, the formalized facility building maintenance service with work plans and supporting budgets. I also, in another section of this, noticed that the reserve, or in some other report I read over the weekend, noticed that the facility reserve is also not as fulsome as some of our other reserves. And does anyone remember if we increased our contribution to that reserve?
So that reserve has been getting $170,000 contribution to it for a number of years. We've not increased it.
Okay.
So what this building maintenance work plans is really to do with operational. It was
Yeah,
yeah, but
okay.
Which page was?
It is on page 14 of 80.
14. Okay.
It's not related to the reserve, it's related to operations and
Yep.
and managing that in a bit more fulsome way, I think. But
That's
it just
correct.
made me think about the need for more reserves for that, for all our facilities,
yes.
given their status.
On page 15 then, I noticed that we've got the climate action plan work is largely complete. But I didn't notice further down step code bylaws, or is that still in action and part of that plan? And
Yes, that still has to come to you, and that's actually in process. So you should see that in the next little bit. Sorry.
okay,
Like
then-
spring or summer?
This year.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. Super.
Thanks, good question.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was it for me on the completeds.
Yep, me too. Anybody else?
No.
Okay, on the
ahead.
incompletes then. Page 21 of 80. We didn't get the Housing Accelerator Fund, and I'm just trying to remember again. Have we reapplied? Is there a new intake for another round of Housing Accelerator funding?
No, there isn't another intake. We did put, I think, $120,000 into the budget, one of the years of the budget for that. And it's we called it it's
Yeah.
it is a non-market, yeah. 2027.
Okay, so because we didn't get the Housing Accelerator funds, we're doing it in-house now at a reduced budget.
We better.
Unless we can find another grant somewhere.
Yeah.
Which we would also probably try for.
May I?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
thanks,
so it's in the budget, I believe it's 2027, it might be 2028. And we do have at least 120,000, I think, so we're not actually, but it's not yet funded.
Right.
So, yeah, that's unfunded, so looking for grants.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Let's manifest a grant.
Waiting to hear about- Okay, yep, Quasilas, you asked.
Okay, I have a question on page 30, I think. Yes. So in the inventory, so just thinking about our asset management plan and the amount of work coming with that, and also where we're at. So it says that we are updating this inventory on a continual basis, but new inventory work will take place once the asset management team has been established. But I just want to confirm that as we're adding new assets, they're going into the pool of assets that we're, like, whatever that looks like, the spreadsheet. I don't know, is it a spreadsheet of all the things and their value?
Yes.
Okay.
Just so you know, we actually have to do inventory of all our assets at year end. It's just not in the way we would like it for an
format.
asset management
Right.
plan. So that's why and we do have a fair amount of inventory for village assets. So like
Yeah.
all our linear is inventoried, like, you know, so, but, and yeah, it's, we need to update it. We need to update it with replacement values, and it would be a whole, probably a lot more detailed than what we have for
Yeah.
our year-end process.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then a follow-up to this is, we're on track to establishing the team. Who's running, who's running this, and where are we at, and are we waiting for our new operations director?
That's right. The reason why it says on track is because it actually needs to be done this year, and we're going to be able to create our team this year. It's
Okay.
like a one-item thing. We just have to figure out once the director comes who's going to be on that team, and that shouldn't take too long. That's why I feel like it's on track.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Great.
everything else has to happen after that. So yeah.
I had a question just on that, or just some clarification on 33 there, just with the liquid waste management plan. So it just says we received an extension of the consent order. Has the province given us any other communication? But we're pretty much in the clear to the end of 2026 now. I know there was a bit of trepidation whether it was good to submit it. Have we got any feedback yet from them?
The LWMP, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would like to answer. Maybe I'll ask Jason because I'm not percent sure what. Had some communication, but
Yeah, so we haven't got any formal information back regarding the review of the LWMP. They did ask for a bit of clarification to kind of support their work in talking to stakeholders. So we're hopeful that that's good news, but we haven't heard anything formal back from them yet on it. But yeah, the consent order, we got an extension for the work that had to be done through to the end of the year. At this point, we're just going to have to wait on the province and see when they come back to us with the approval.
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you very much for that.
So then, just to follow up on that, we cannot use the new outfall until we have that plan,
Correct.
that plan back and in place.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we're going to be using the new treatments, but then piping it to the old outfall?
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a temporary outfall pipe that's been added that goes around the south end of the lagoons to the current outfall.
Yeah.
And so that's what we'll use until after the approval comes through and we finalize phase 2.
And then we can eliminate that pipe and carry on, and then,
It's an overground, it's kind of above land pipe, so it hasn't been dug into the ground or anything.
yeah.
Nice.
So the plan will be that, once we don't need it anymore, it can be removed at that point.
And then as soon as we do have those permissions to use the new outfall, we don't have to wait for the reed bed or for the new creek alignment.
Shouldn't have to. We're actively getting those designs finished, and we're currently going out for permits on those so that we're ready to go. The plan would be that all those pieces will happen kind of concurrently as we move along. But it should be okay to move to that location at that point. But it may be, depending on how it lands, we will be doing most of that kind of concurrently. So the hope is that kind of phase 2 comes a bit more of a swoop than the chunked phased approach we did on phase 1.
Fantastic. Looking forward to our ribbon cutting.
Right?
Yeah. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Can I?
Well, you're,
Don't
You're-
go away, Jason.
don't,
Tried to run.
have you heard any more back on the additional funding we've asked for number 2 dam?
Nothing yet. So we did send in a letter asking for some kind of extra support on that, but yeah, we've not heard anything back. from
Okay,
them.
yeah, and I saw Mayor Brown's letter to the minister in support of that, and
Yeah.
but no word back on that yet.
Not
Okay.
as of yet, no.
But meanwhile, design is in progress, and
Yeah, hopefully we'll have some kind of preliminary options of designs to bring forward to you guys in the very, very near future here.
Awesome.
sweet. Thank you.
Hi. Can I
Mayor.
just take us back a few pages? Sorry, I missed that one. To Lake Park. I just
can come back.
page 26. And I just, as we noted, the loss of our end of life and reversed into picnic shelter. Just with the extension of the season into the shoulders, and there's a significant amount of off-season use out there as well in inclement weather. Significant sort of loss of a piece of shelter space. Just wonder whether the plan includes, in some time in the future, to look at extending or replacing that lost shelter space.
I'm going to ask Kevin to
I
just
don't
answer
think
that
it's
one.
in the master
Yeah, it's in the
plan.
master plan, so I think
But
I'm going to ask
Kevin
him
can-
to talk to that.
Which shelter?
The one that got taken down.
That's not proposed for replacement. It hasn't been used as a public picnic shelter in years, and it's proposed that area is converted to campground space, which would help offset some of the campground space that we're removing from the waterfront.
Yeah, I wasn't, but wondering about exact replacement of that, but just whether the amount of covered shelter is considered sufficient across the site for for when it occasionally rains.
Yeah, the park master plan doesn't have any plans for additional, I guess, kind of winter shelter space at the park outside of the existing shelter on the day use beach.
Thank you.
Okay. Back.
Mayor Brown, I think
Yes.
that you had a question, I think. It's not exactly, but it is about water. I think you
Yes.
were-
Can I ask that now?
Yes, so.
Yeah, so it looks like we've been spilling water out of the water treatment plant, likely or shortly after that massive rain event we had. And I'm just wondering, is that like an annual operating thing, or is that specific to that
So
downpour?
that was specific to that
Yeah.
high level downpour that we had. And so that's pre-treatment. What they'll do is flush the lines out if the quality isn't where we want it to be.
Yeah.
So that we're not putting that type of water into our reservoir. So pre-treatment, then they were flushing the line, waiting for the quality to come back. So that isn't happening anymore as of today, and we're kind of back to where we wanted to be. But when the level quality of the water gets to a point that we're not comfortable with, we will then move to one of the other sources, flush through, because that water is now in the pipe from the reservoir to the water treatment plant. We need to flush that through to get back to the water that we want. So
Okay,
that was
awesome.
the process that kind of went in when we saw the levels get to where we weren't comfortable with them, stop the flow, flush the line, and then get back to using it after that.
Awesome, thank you. That makes me feel
of course.
good about how we're managing that nightmare
There's a bit
event.
of a creek up there.
It's yes, it is a river. Yep. Yep. Okay, where were we? Oh, so I have a question, page 33, around the solid waste. I just want to confirm when, because I think we extended our contract till the end of 2025.
The
Or
end
was
of
it
2026 now.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
we still have another year.
So I do have a bit of an update. So we are, the CFO and myself have started recently Dave from Mterra came up. We
Okay.
are also going to be meeting again with CVRD because it did happen, but we don't have any notes on anything, so we just want to touch base again. And but so the analysis has been actually almost completed by
Nice.
the interim director in that position, but me and Annie just have to pick it back up again and probably touch base with CVRD again just to understand that process now that she's back. And then we should be able to provide that to you guys, and then try to work with CVRD to have the same timeline if you're interested in
Yeah.
moving towards that. I think one other thing is Dave's going to come out and he and I are going to drive around the community just to understand some of those more complicated situations or roads and
Yeah.
but basically, yeah, it would be up to them to figure it out, and I think they would have no problem. I just need to then communicate it, the change management side of it, to you guys and
Yeah.
the community. So
Okay, so that transition would happen in 2027 then?
yeah, and then one of the ideas, I guess, is that it's not ideal to move to the cart system in the winter. They'd prefer to
Yeah.
move in the summer or something like so. So even though we
here.
might be ready for January of
Yeah.
2027, he would be willing to extend our contract a little bit more to have a more favorable
Start date.
transition time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Should we choose that option?
that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just on follow up on that, is there any, as a contingency, is there a move to completely remove manual services by other contractors in the valley? And like cart system may be the only option that we have moving forward? Or do you not have
Sure,
any
the answer
insight?
to that actually, I mean, Courtney and Comox are both,
Cart, yeah.
but I don't know about the regional district other than Royston, who we'll
Yeah.
be doing it with. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure if there is no desire to have auto or manual.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, so is the contract then reliant on Royston doing it as well?
That's
To make
correct.
efficiency?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Interesting.
collect on I believe the same day as us, so
Yeah,
they want us to move with them
okay,
if we do,
okay,
and they are planning to put it in front of theirs board.
okay, great. Okay, I have a question on page 35 about the soil stuff. I'm just wondering if is the delay just timelines and or is it like access or other issues?
It's a little bit of both. It's taken some time for staff to onboard our new consultant working on the project, as well as for her to establish some relationships with Mosaic staff that are required for the permitting process. It's also taken some time to find the right qualified professional to do the work who's also been pre-approved by Mosaic, because that's one of the conditions of the work. So there's been some progress as recently as this week on an individual employed by McElhaney, a retired geoscientist, who's comes highly recommended. So optimistic that we'll be able to get rolling shortly. And we also had some discussions later in the last fall around amending our existing permit for the discharge study to also enable this work with Mosaic. So that was encouraging. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that update.
Just in case.
Anybody else?
I got one on 41.
Okay, me too.
I'm looking at the Nikkei Park landscaping, and my question is simply, are we going to be able to complete the landscaping for the cost of the forfeited security deposit?
That's unknown. That project have just awarded a contract to our parks landscape architecture consultant, and they're evaluating the budget and the scope. I think what we would probably do is reduce some of the plantings and landscaped areas in order to fit within the budget, but that's premature to suggest that's going to be necessary.
Okay. If we are having to reduce the amount of park landscaping, the things that the security budget was supposed to cover, we may need to, at some point in the future, look at increasing that security deposit if it is not going to be. Otherwise, everybody will just forfeit their security deposit because it will be cheaper than actually doing the work.
Yeah, maybe a development services.
Yes. Yes, I realize that as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just to say a couple of things about that. I think that we've got a couple going on, a couple of similar situations for Nikkei Park and also Carlisle Lane. And I suspect this has not happened before to the village. And also, like, those began in a time of staff turnover. So one solution to the problem of costs increasing, and it's been this many years, so did the deposit that we took, was that enough? One of the solutions to that problem is to stick to the timelines that the village requires initially. Various things happened where we're working on a more of a encouragement and relationship situation where they just need a little bit more time. Okay, we'll wait another growing season. So that's come to the point now where, if it turns out that we have to amend our planting plan because we don't have enough money or come back to council to ask for more budget, then we'll realize there is a real negative impact to that sort of relational approach, which didn't turn out to be successful because they have now forfeited their deposit. And then another process thing that we would look at is taking a closer look at the estimated costs of the work that the developer submits, which is certified by the engineer, but take a closer look, a fine-tooth comb, just to make sure everything is really accounted for. So I think we try and solve those problems before we look at increasing the percentage of deposit. I would hesitate to do that. And first of all, I'd have to check, actually, is that in the legislation, the percentage we are allowed to take? First of all, I want to check that. But also, I wouldn't want to be out of step with the rest of the Comox Valley, because then that's more of a deterrent to development.
Okay.
I have a question while you're there as well. Is this the same developer that has an application in front of us for apartments and a bunch of townhouses?
Different developer, different owner.
Okay, nice. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, in fact, one then follow up on that. Hypothetical. I mean, Carlisle Lane, are they completely completed? Have they got any more permissions? So let's put it as more of a hypothetical. If a developer has an outstanding deposit on one development or has a failure to pay and comes to us for something else, is that an automatic not until you finish the last one, or is it discretionary?
Unfortunately, it's not quite that simple, and each situation might be a little bit different. So if we wanted to deny something because of that, we'd get some legal advice.
I think there's something in the act around not holding things against new applications, even if it's the same developer. I have some memory of that. but
You
I
didn't
don't
pay
know
us
for
last
sure.
time, but don't worry, we'll let you try again.
But we might have legal restrictions to doing that. As much as we might want to do that, we may not be able to do that.
Right.
As is the case with the Local Government Act. Okay, before you go, Kevin, I'm just curious about the council chambers fire recovery process. And is this the insurer, MIABC? Or is it some other
They
insurer?
hire, MIA is the
Oh.
property insurer, but they hire a adjuster, and they're our point of contact.
And that's
on
what
this.
changed.
And the individual adjuster has recently changed. And the new fellow we've been in touch with, and we were expecting submission of bids for the reconstruction the adjuster was expecting to receive those submissions last week in which case we should be seeing them any day now. So
Yay.
we're seeing progress.
Nice. Okay, great.
Yeah, they invited 3 local construction companies to submit bids, I guess, before Christmas. I believe 2 of them requested an extension, and that extension was to Friday.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. My next question is page 44, and I'm not sure who can answer this. But I'm pleased to see the aerators, or whatever they're called, based on bathymetry study. 6 portable aerators and increased water quality sampling for Allen Lake. I'm just wondering if those are, like, did those go in last year? Or are they going in this year? Does anybody know?
Those are in the 2026 budget.
Okay, so coming up for this summer, they
Correct.
would go
They've
in or
just been
something.
approved.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay, financial report.
Yes, if I can, on the financial report. Firstly, on the revenue side, I noticed that DCC is running at 4% of budget, and property tax is looking like it's almost exactly on budget. Does that relate to where would I expect growth taxes to turn up? And is the answer that they're not? And does the DCC at such a low percentage speak to, a real slowdown in development, or to something else?
I'll start with the DCCs, and if you don't mind, Annie might have to jump in here if it gets too detailed. But the DCCs in this revenue statement, that depend. So when DCCs are collected, they go to a reserve, and so this revenue is only if you have a project and you're spending the money.
Oh,
on
this is
that
when they
project.
come from
so
reserve.
It's a timing thing.
Okay, understood.
Growth taxes are in property taxes, and so this includes your growth taxes from 2025. That's what you've collected.
And you budgeted for a certain amount of growth taxes, which is why it meets plan. Is that what I'm?
No, this is
Yeah.
an amended financial plan, so
Yeah.
we brought actually your growth in.
You've brought that in
Last
already.
amendment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then my other question on here was that the admin spend on budgets, if I'm reading it correctly, is 85% of expected.
Yes.
Is that that's a likely to be an outcome that we spend 15% less than budgeted for, or is that going to catch up as accounts are completed?
Okay, so you have one more budget amendment to come forward from, because I think your first budget amendment came in July, and I think Annie's preparing one more for you in February, which will give you add to these budgets based on some of your decisions over the last few months. So and then 85% for general government services. Usually, I'm not 100% sure how much comes in during audit, but usually like you'll have like some invoices that haven't made it in yet, adjustments, like certain audited adjustments and things like that. So it's hard to tell if it'll be at 85% or not at the end.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can use these accounts to tell anything about our performance.
That's a tough one.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as we move forward, and we're fully staffed all the time, you might get more concrete numbers here, but I would say these ones might not be super concrete at this stage.
Right. Thank you. That's all I have on the financial.
Anybody else on that?
Just one. We're showing a surplus of $850,000 for the year.
And that is under financial plan, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
On page 52, and I'm just wondering if that number is expected to stay there, and where did the bulk of this surplus come from?
That's so
Yeah.
helpful.
The bulk of the surplus is that. Yeah, I would say no. That is not expected to stay there.
Okay.
You're going to have all your adjusting entries that come in. Probably the bulk of that would be some capacity issues that we experienced in 2025. So we probably had some savings there, but it's not going to be 850,000.
okay.
But there will be some.
It'll be adjusting. Like you're gonna have some, further transfers to reserves or transfers from reserves, like depending on project completion, because we were waiting for final invoices and stuff, so that's not come in yet, and just a bunch of different things.
Okay, and
But
then.
you're gonna have a surplus, I think.
Yeah, and then if I remember correctly, our surpluses just cascade into reserves if they show up at the end of the year.
So your annual surplus cascades into your accumulated surplus, and then over, I think, 1.2 million or something like
Yeah.
that's in that as an optimum balance would then cascade into your financial stabilization. That would get used on stabilization.
Yeah.
And then anything that's not set aside for stabilization over the optimum amount will then cascade to your capital reserves.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much.
I did have one question, because the transfer from other governments conditional, it's fairly significant chunk on page 50. What, is there any risk to that revenue not coming in?
The one that's conditional.
The conditional
So again,
one.
that's timing
Yeah.
based on project. So we don't actually budget that unless we actually have the grant that's come in, and
Okay.
then you'll see like $8.9 million budgeted, and we've only brought in 2.5.
Right.
That's because we've deferred the money somewhere else, and we haven't quite brought it in yet to cover the expenses that
Okay.
that have been spent on those claims.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up.
Okay, on to protective services. Mike, did you want to speak to this at all? I can if you'd like. Just give us a little overview. Maybe specific, one of the questions I had was membership status. You tell us what the current membership status is, but maybe in relation to previous years, like are we going in a good way or
We're
losing or gaining?
Yeah, with manpower, we're pretty stable. We lose, we always try and train 10 people a year. This year we have, I think it's 15 people applying to join in 2026. But yeah, we're pretty up and down. We're between 30 and 35 people the last several years. And, but we have 22 very well trained, fully trained, and 7, it says probationary members, but it's, those people are almost at the 20, to join the 22, so that'd be like 27 people that are 1001 fully trained by the end of this year. So we're in good shape training-wise and good shape operational-wise, but we need those new probationaries. And sounds like we got Stefan told me well, he has 12 on here, but now he tells me we have 15. So we
New
have people
applicants.
applying. So
Okay.
and that's supposed, he wants to start that at the end of this year. But that's to get the other 7 fully trained up. But might push him to start that a little earlier.
Yeah, that's my other question. So people just can apply anytime, I
Yeah.
presume. And then, but do you do like an intake where you start to train those new people? Like,
So what we do is we get people to apply, and then we get a crew, like a group, because we like to move them through the stages
okay,
as a group.
yeah.
We used to do it the other way. Because we never got 10 people to
Yeah.
apply. We used to get 2 or 3, so we just let them in right away. But now we have groups, so it's way better, faster training. It's
More efficient, yeah.
we have people designated to that group, so it works pretty good.
Awesome. My other question is clarifying, 2 clarifying questions. So it's in your sort of preamble, you talk about only 1 structure fire, but there's 15 fire responses.
Yeah.
So does that mean those 14 were not structure fires? What kind of fires were they?
Well, structure fire is like when the actual structure is burning. Like if you had a fire in here, that table was on fire, that's not a structure fire. The actual
Okay.
structure has to be on fire.
So the RVs that burned, or
And we don't call them structure fires, but actually, that's a good point.
Sort of.
We probably should. We probably should use them as, we use them as vehicle fires.
yeah,
And, well, that's a good question.
yeah.
What to do there, but But yeah, so we had smoke in buildings, you know, smoke in structure, like
Yeah.
contents fire, we call them. Had a few of those, you know, dryers on fire, or we actually had a thermostat on fire, and they're not really structure fires, but they're in a structure, so.
They're much smaller, easier
We've
to
done
manage.
this is the best year I've ever seen with structure fires, like it's incredible, like
Awesome.
unbelievable, really.
And my other clarifying, sorry, if anybody else has a question.
Doing good
I
so
will,
far.
but you go ahead with your clarifying. You might hit mine.
The other one is, what's the difference between a duty officer response and a first responder?
That's another good question. If you notice, the duty officer responses are up.
Yeah.
So what we've been doing is, on our first responder calls, we're only doing purple and red. So a lot of these other calls, the duty officer attends, just to check it out, assess it, say, no, we need more help or whatever. So that cuts back on the first responder calls. But we still have 52% or something, I think it's 52% first responder calls, which, you know, take up a lot of our time. And I mean, we had one 4:30 this morning that we get there, everybody gets there, and the ambulance says, "Oh, we don't need you."
Ugh.
Those irritate us, like,
Yeah.
but it would come in as a red call, so we go and
And a red call is fire and a purple is health or something?
both of them are
that make
health.
sense?
Both of them are serious health.
Okay.
Person not breathing or can't breathe, or yeah, we're trying to fix that because it irritates some of the firemen to get out of bed and drive up there and come to the hall, and then we turn them around. They don't even get to the call, and we turn them around back to the hall, and they're,
Yeah.
you know, it's not very comfortable for them.
No, there goes your
Doesn't
night
matter
of
what
sleep.
Me and Steph, we can handle that, no problem, but guys gotta go to work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
gotta go to work too, but it's different kind of work, but.
Okay. Any other questions, council?
Yeah, mine's sort of related to that. Well, certainly in my last year on council, this has repeatedly come up, but it's first responder and it's medical support, and you reference that they're getting longer because of ambulance delays. And, you know, I know that there's always going to be times when you are the right people to send first, but it just continues to feel like, we're stepping in for BC Ambulance. It's the province putting costs down to us, and, you know, we all know this. What can we do? Is there anything?
Yeah,
You
does the
know?
province pay us for those
Well,
call-outs?
No, the village is on the village pays the bill for those calls, and now the province has upped our we call it gap training. We've increased our training, so it's brought on more cost to the fire department, and because we have to train to a higher level now. We're trained pretty high level. We can, we can do a lot more than we used to. We can do sugars, blood pressures. We can intubate with a tube. It's pretty serious stuff that we were never allowed to do before. We used to have to use an oral airway. Now we can go through the nose, and we have several ambulance people on the fire department, which helps us too, helps our training. We're very good at first aid or first responder training, and a lot of times we're the first ones there. Many times we're the first ones there. And because our ambulance is out of town or something like that. But I've always said, I've asked all the mayors, like, when you go to these conferences, they should give us something for
Yeah.
that.
It comes up at every UBCM. It's
Does
yeah.
I know. It does. I just want to
Yeah.
Can I just
Let's
tell
keep
you
going
one
on
thing
that.
about that? So Mike mentioned earlier a certain color. What did you call them? Red and
Purple and red.
purple or red. So it means like, they only will respond to those first responders. However, the difference for us and why we probably do get more first responders is because they also will respond if the ambulance is going to be 20 minutes late. Would
10
that-
minutes.
10 minutes late. And so our ambulance is not always in this area.
Yeah.
They're like, they respond to everywhere. So that's more likely why they have to respond, is because the ambulance is not going to make it in time. And so they do.
But even at that, I've sent our crew. We've gone to those calls. They're delayed, and it's a nothing person sick or whatever. I send the crew back to the hall, and I've sat there for like 35 minutes with the patient, just making sure she's okay or he's okay, and wait for the ambulance, because all they really need sometimes is a ride to the hospital. But if the minute they say they have trouble breathing, boom, we're out. It's that quick. Which is,
As you should, but
Very good for our residents. I mean, a lot of people don't like doing it. Courtney doesn't even do it, and but I don't know. We're here for our residents, right?
thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else for Mike?
I have some good news I wanted to bring up today. Was
Okay.
tomorrow.
Truck coming.
Yes, tomorrow at about 1 o'clock, between 12 and 1, we'll have our new rescue truck arriving.
Awesome.
Sending Steph in the morning down to pick it up in Nanaimo. And yeah, so if anybody wants to stop by, have a look at it. It won't be in service, of course, but
Yeah.
have it at the hall, and we appreciate you letting us have that. Our old one's 30 years old, and this one will be top notch.
Nice.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Excellent.
Thanks for the update.
And one thing I just wouldn't mind bringing to your attention is we do have someone waiting for the.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's it, isn't it? That's that report, because we already did RCMP. Oh no, we have development services.
It all looks fine to me.
So I had hoped to be finished this by 4:30.
Okay. Yeah, my only question on development, two things. Development services was just any update on Ulverston Lot A, and then I had a comment on permits. Just a thank you. I noted that business licenses appear to be being approved much faster, and that's just on behalf of the business community. I think thank you for that effort.
Ulverston Lot A, we've been waiting for information from the applicant. So now we're working on the covenants, and we've just received that information quite recently. So hopefully we'll be able to bring something back to council soon. That's moving.
Nice. I have a question on Coal Valley Estates, which I think the last update is May 13th, 2025. So once the new zoning bylaw is approved, does it apply to them immediately, or they get some kind of grace period, or how does that interact with comprehensive development?
Well, it doesn't directly impact their subdivision. Is your question about the ability for them to now build fourplexes on the single lots?
Yes, so not just the fourplexes, but also the road standards, like any other things that have changed in the zoning bylaw. Would that have an impact on that development because they have that agreement, which is sort of separate?
Yeah, I can't think of, so zoning bylaw can certainly zoning bylaw changes do affect a property that has that comprehensive development agreement, but I can't think of anything that would have an impact on them for their subdivision at this moment.
But they would have to build, so the infrastructure that they put in would have to have the capacity for 4 dwellings, yes?
Correct.
Okay, awesome.
And they would have to subdivide to a 650 meter lot size?
They are in a different zone. They're in mixed use 3,
Right.
and their lot sizes mirror what's in their comprehensive development agreement, which is slightly smaller than that.
Okay. Thank you. Oops. Next is bylaw. Okay, and my laptop won't do what I want. It's okay. Any questions for bylaw? I have one, but I can't make my laptop against my screen. Go away. Okay. Let's try this. There we go. Okay, so it says during the last quarter of 2025, we had 100 calls for service bylaw team, and I think in the previous quarter it was 116. And I just want for the public and for our general knowledge, being a small part-time crew, that works out to, if if bylaw calls came in an organized manner, about 30 calls a month. I'm just trying to get a sense of the capacity of the bylaw service to address that number of calls on a regular basis.
One a day.
Seems like a lot for a small community.
It is.
And a lot of parking.
A lot of parking, which is often, I think I've mentioned that before, it's
Yeah.
often sort of top of mind for people to call in. They just sort of know bylaw officers as addressing parking, so parking and animal control issues kind of always end
But
up
we don't
being the
have
top.
parking rules, so I'm curious, what are they complaining about?
We do have a streets and traffic bylaw, but we also have
Right.
older streets, so we have the opportunity for people to park where other people want to be and get in each other's way and stuff like that. So there's often calls to resolve those sorts of situations, and I think Susan does a great job of it. And we don't have I don't know if I should say this publicly, but we don't really write parking tickets. It's generally just warnings and conversations that sort things out. People are usually willing to have that be
The
the
way.
solution. But and then on the point of how busy, I think yes, we are keeping up, and we're also looking forward to. I think there's an opportunity with for Susan to have up to 17 weeks of full time through next year. So we're definitely sort of looking forward to that increased capacity and figuring out a good way to spread that out throughout 2026. But I think we're in good shape.
Awesome, thank you. I hear good things in the community, so like people appreciate our bylaw service. I'm not sure how often that happens to a mayor, so I just want to pass that along, that I really appreciate that.
I often
People are
find
like,
myself
I
saying,
saw bylaw and it was great. I'm like, oh.
it won't always be that way, so keep those ones in mind for when
That's
it's-
right. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Okay, any other questions? And hearing none, question period? Any questions for us? Seeing no one in the audience, online questions? No questions. Okay, then there is a recommendation to move to closed, if somebody wouldn't mind reading that.
Sure. I'll move that council close the meeting to the public pursuant to section 90-1 of the community charter to consider litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communication necessary for that purpose, and discussions with municipal officers and employees respecting municipal objectives, measures, and progress reports for the purpose of preparing an annual report under section 98.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?